Hello, this is Group 1. My name is Long. Our group have 4 members, as you can see on the slide. Today we will present about Chapter 8 and Chapter 9. So let's start on Chapter 8. So the what and why of planning. So what is planning? Planning helps to determine an organization's goals and create the path lead to that goals in a specific time period. Planning helps everyone knows what they have to do to achieve the goals. So why do managers have to plan? There are 4 reasons. First, planning provides direction to managers and non-managers alike. It helps both employees and employers know what direction they should take. Second is planning reduce uncertainty. By forcing managers to look ahead and predict the change and helping them know well about what they are doing. Third one is planning minimize waste and redundancy. The plans will make the inefficiencies become obvious, which will make the manager have the right changes. Fourth, planning established the goals and standards. Planning will make everything more obvious, and the manager would know what is their goals and what standards are. Planning and performance. First, generally speaking, formal planning is associated with positive financial results, higher profits, higher return on assets, and so forth. Second, it seems that doing a good job planning and implementing those plans play a bigger part in high performance than how much planning is done. Next, in those studies where formal planning didn't lead to higher performance, the external environment often was the factor that led to that. The external forces such as government regulation or powerful labor unions constrain managers' option. It reduces the impact planning has on an organization performance. Finally, the planning performance relationship seems to be influenced by the planning time frame. It seems that at least 4 years of formal planning is required before it begins to affect performance.
Goals and plans. First off, let's talk about goals. Goals or objectives are mainly desired outcomes or targets for a company. And plans are documents that outline how goals are going to be met. Let's talk about goals. There are currently 4 types of goals. The number 1 is financial goal, then strategic goal, stated goal, and finally real goals. A company is not limited to just one goal. A company can have both real and stated goals and strategic goals at the same time if necessary. A company is not limited to only one goal and should generally have multiple goals in order to be successful. On to strategies or plans. There are currently 8 types of plans. First off, here are the first 4, which is strategic plan, operational plans, long-term plans, and short-term plans. The next 4 are specific plans, directional plans, single-use plans, and standing plans. Unlike goals, most companies usually only have one plan. However, they are interchangeable. You could use a different plan depending on you should use a different plan depending on the situation and goal in mind. That's why so a company should generally use any type of plan in order to get succeed in what they are intending to do. That's all for my part.
Hello everybody, I'm Vinay and today I will continue my first part. In this chapter, it's about setting goals and developing plans. First, we have to approach to setting goals. And the first one is traditional goals. Traditional goal is an approach to setting goals in which the top manager set goals that then flow down through the organization become sub-goal for each organizational area. And that's a means and change. It's an integrated network of goals in which the accomplishment of goals at one level serve as the means for achieving the goals or ends at the next level. And the next is MBO. What is MBO? It's the management by objectives. It's the process of setting mutually agreed upon goals and using those values to evaluate employee performance. And step in MBO is you have to have the overall objectives and strategy. Step 2, major objectives are allocated among divisional and departmental units. Step 3, unit managers collaboratively set specific objectives. Step 4, specific objectives are collaboratively set with all department members. Step 5, action plans, defining how objectives are to be achieved. Step 6, that's implemented. Step 7, review and feedback. And the final one is performance-based reward. And next is about step in goal setting. First, we have to review the organization mission and purpose. Second one, evaluate available resources about human resource or capacity. The third one, determine the goals individually or with input from others. The fourth is write out the goals and communicate them to all who need to know. And the final one is review the results. And we have some way to well-written goals. That's the written in terms of outcome rather than actions. Goals is measurable and quantifiable. It's clear into a time frame, challenging yet attainable, and it must be written down, and it must be communicated to all necessary organizational members. And next we will come to the development plan, and in the development plan we have the contingency factors in planning. First, it's about the length of future commitment. It's the commitment concept. It's the current plans affecting future commitment must be sufficiently long-term in order to meet those commitments. And environmental uncertainty. When uncertainty is high, plans should be specific but flexible. Managers must be prepared to change or amend plans they have implemented, and at times they may even have to abandon the plans. And the final one is formal planning department. In the formal planning department, it's a group of planning specialists who sole responsibility is have to write organizational planning. In traditional abroad, planning is done entirely by top level managers, often assisted but now it's often assisted by formal planning department. And next is my friend will represent to you about the contemporary issues in planning. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to case application 1 and 2 of chapter 8. So let's start with case application 1, crisis planning at Livestrong Foundation. So the Livestrong Foundation, which was founded by world-famous cyclist Lance Armstrong, has served millions of people affected by cancer. After Lance Armstrong was commended for doping, lying, and cheating, the foundation found itself on a mission to survive. Now, Livestrong would be operating in a life without Lance mode. The Livestrong Foundation implemented a crisis communication plan to disassociate its image from the image of its founder and reposition the brand on its purposes. The full results of the crisis management plan are yet to be evaluated because the foundation is still living with this crisis. However, it has been able to keep most of its corporate partners and is going to serve more people than ever in the following years. Let's get to the first question. Could an organization even plan for this type of situation? So I think yes. While developing short and long-term plans, the foundation management should have focuses on the environment uncertainty of their founder, or at the very least develop what-if scenarios. And I realize that the average company may be taken by surprise by a scandal of this magnitude if it was foreseen. But in the case of the Livestrong Foundation, founder Lance Armstrong's doping scandal was well known, and a major conflict the foundation faces was how long and to what extent do they continue to support its founder's self-proclaimed innocence. Even though many of the foundation employees want to believe the rumors were not true and that Lance was being falsely accused. Question number 2. How long would gold be useful in this type of situation? So goals are highly essential for the survival of an organization. They are planned depending on the objectives of the organization with future forecasts. The goals plays a predominant role for the sustainability of the organization. What types of goals might be necessary? So both short-term and long-term goals, I think. Case application 2. Shifting direction. So Garmin spearhead the use of personal navigation devices in cars, and inspired that the managers at Garmin are shifting direction because consumers increasingly use their smartphones for directions and maps, and the company is taking actions to end its GPS systems in car dashboards. Despite these new market shifts, some customers have gotten used to the GPS devices, and it is become an essential part of their lives. So, Garmin still believes there is a market for dedicated navigation systems, and they are trying to breathe some life into the product, for example with new features, better designs, or maybe more value for customer money. So what role do you think goals would play in planning the change in direction for the company? And list some goals you think might be important. So strong goals trickle down from the top managers and inspire all the employees to work towards them. They also allow the company to move forward with changes in the environment. And there are three goals that I think would be important for a company. They are completely serve the needs of the customer, have an environment of integrity and respect, and have each employee feel welcome in the company and successful. Second question, what types of plan would be needed in an industry such as this one of garment, and explain why you think this plan would be important. So plans for technology companies like garment need to be extremely flexible as the market for these devices is constantly changing. Having flexible plan will allow them to take technological change in stride and continue to focus their efforts. 3. What contingency factors might affect the planning government executives have to do, and how might those contingencies factors affect the planning? So shifting direction leads to many difficulties in changing companies' employee resources, facilities, and structure. So their new ideas may have to be long-term goals in order to meet them. And environmental uncertainty is when the factors or change in the external environment are unknown, especially in the marketplace. So managers have to be prepared to change when necessary and go with the flow to speak. Number 4. What planning challenges do you think government executives face with continuing to be the global market leader, and how should they cope with those challenges? So I think the challenge is for the government company is they have to remember who they are, and they have to remember that they are the market leader, and they should have planning as an ongoing process, constantly wanting to improve and staying on the top, catching and following or moving with trends, stay up to date on their competitors so they can anticipate what they might do next instead of being caught off guard.
Hello guys, so today I'm Vinda and I will continue my friend's talk in this chapter. It's about managing strategy, and I will continue part about the strategic management process and coverage strategies. First is about the strategic management process. It has a 6-step process that encompasses strategic planning, implementation, and evaluation. In step 1, identifying the organization mission, goals, and strategy. Step 2, doing external analysis. Step 3, doing internal analysis. And step 3 and 4 are combined called SWOT analysis. What is SWOT? It's an analysis of an organization's strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. In the step 4, we will go to formulate strategies, is develop and evaluate alternatives, select an appropriate strategies, match organizational strength, and correct weakness against threat. In step 5, we implementing the strategies, effectively fitting organizational structure and activities to the environment. And the final one is evaluating results, how effective it is, what adjustment we need. and we will continue about the corporate strategies. What is corporate strategies? Yeah, as you can see, corporate strategies is an organizational strategy that determines what business a company is or want to be in, and want to be with this business. And we have the three types of corporate strategy: growth, stability, and renewal. Growth is an expansion into new products or markets. Stability, maintenance of the status. And renewal, manager needs to develop strategy by addressing declining performance. And how are the corporate strategy managed? By BCG matrix to identify which business offer high potential or which will arrange. And thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm Long. Welcome to chapter 9. Now we talk about corporate strategies. So, what is corporate strategies? A corporate strategy is one that determines what business a company is in or wants to be in, and what it wants to do with those business. It's based on the mission and goals of the organization and the roles that each business unit of the organization will play. So let's move to the types of corporate strategy. There are three kinds of corporate strategy. The first one is growth. A growth strategy is when an organization expands the number of markets served or products offered. The second one is stability. A stability strategy is when a corporate keeps doing what it is currently doing. Renewal. When an organization is in trouble, something needs to be done. Managers need to develop strategies called renewal strategies that address declining performance. There are two kinds of renewal strategy: retrenchment and turnaround. Retrenchment strategy is used for short period of time, and turnaround is opposite. So, how are corporate strategies managed? Manager will use a tool called portfolio matches. This matches provides a framework for understanding the diverse business and helps managers establish priorities for allocating resources. The first portfolio matches used is BCG matches, was developed by Boston Consulting Group. These matches will help to identify which one offered high potential and which were a drain on organization resources. After that, manager will use SWOT analysis to place which one will be in the one of the four categories. The first one is stars, cash cows. Second, question marks, and dogs. In these categories, the dogs should be sold off or liquidated as they have low market share in markets with low growth potential. Managers should milk cash cows for as much as possible, limit any new investment in them and use the large amounts of cash generated to invest in stocks and question marks with strong potential to improve market share. Heavy investment in stocks will have taken advantage of the market's growth and have maintained high market share. The stocks, of course, will eventually develop into cash cows as the markets mature and sales growth slows. The hardest decision for managers relates to the question marks. After careful analysis, some will be sold off and others strategically neutral into stocks. This is my part.
Competitive strategies. When you're in when you're in an organization or in a business, you need an effective strategy in order to compete against the opponent. That's why you must always think of a competitive strategy in order to compete. However, to make a strategy, you need to understand what makes you distinct, what gives you an edge in the competition. That is how you win in a competition, and you have something that differs from the other people to make you unique, to make you stand out, to make you win. However, before you get into the competition, you need to understand what the competition is, how lucrative, how profitable it is for you. That's why we have the 5 force model. The 5 force model mainly determines how attractive and profitable an industry is. There are currently 5 models: threat of new entrants, threat of substitute, bargaining power, bargaining power of suppliers, and bargaining power of buyers, and 5 is current rivalries. These are necessary in order for you to determine how lucrative it is and whether or not you should join the industry. Now, after having decided it, whether or not you will join, we need to choose a competitive strategy. There are currently 4 competitive strategies. The number 1 is cost leadership strategy. Number 2 is differentiation strategy. Number 3 is focus strategy. Number 4 is stuck in the middle. Now, strategy should not just be used only one. You should not only use one strategy, but you should use at least 2 or 3 or rather, you should use it interchangeably in order to fit the situation. Use what you want. Use the one that you think is suitable for what you have in mind, or use it for the one that you want to do in order to gain the most profitable sales or just plain profit. There's also functional strategies that are used by organization in order to support the current competitive strategies. That will be that will be explained clearer in the near future. Current strategic management issues. In a company, in order to make good strategies, you need to be a strategic leader. You are not only a leader that will lead others to success, but also a leader that can initiate change, that will create a viable and valuable future for the organization. Now here we are going to talk about how to become a good strategic leader. Here we have Exhibit 9.4. These are the factors that determine that make up a good, effective strategic leadership, as you can see here. One of the things we emphasize here most is strategic flexibility. It is ability to recognize major external changes, to commit resources quickly, and to recognize when a strategic decision was a mistake. Now, in order to develop flexibility, we need to do the following strategy. Here it is on Exhibit 9.5. Moving on. There are also important organizational strategies for today's environment. One of the biggest current strategies is e-business strategies. They are ways of using the internet in order to promote as well as encourage your want employees and customers to interact with each other in order to promote your business. Next up, we have the customer service strategies that emphasize on customer support and ensuring that customer is satisfied with what their customer are satisfied and are helped whenever they need help. There's also the innovation strategy, or one of the branch of innovation strategy as the first mover, an organization that brings product innovation to the market or uses new process innovations. There are a few disadvantages to the first movers. Of course, you can see here in the exhibit 9.6. That's all for my part. Moving on.
So hello everyone, welcome to the case application 1 and 2 of chapter 9. So let's get into case application 1, fast fashion. Zara is a successful fast fashion clothing brand that founded by Amancio Ortega and owned by Inditex, the world's largest fashion retailer by sales. Each aspect of Zara's business contributes to the fast turnaround. They manage the process of producing, transporting, and selling their products in an effective and economical way. The company's just-in-time production gives it a competitive edge in terms of speed and flexibility. To maintain Zara's leading advantage, the company is introducing new methods that enable store managers to order and display merchandise faster, and is adding new cargo routes or building a new logistic hub for shipping goods. And the online retailing forecast could quadruple the company's sales in the future. The first question, how is strategic management illustrated by this case story? So strategic management is illustrated in this case story when Mr. Ortega opened his first Zara clothing store, and the business model of the company was to sell high fashion localized to price-conscious Europeans. It is illustrated in this case story when Zara clothing store planned to do fast fashion, which means getting designs to customer quickly, or when Zara's employees look at the computers to scrutinize sales at every store. Question number 2. How might SWOT analysis be helpful to Inditex executives to Zara store managers? By doing a SWOT analysis, the Inditex executives and Zara store managers can study the opportunities for the company to grow up and expand. They can also study about the threats to the company, like negative trends in the external environment. The SWOT analysis can be helpful because the Inditex executives and store managers can analyze from an internal analysis the strength of the organization, which is the fast turnarounds, and discover some weaknesses. Case application 2, rewind and replay. So Netflix launches in 1999 Netflix subscribers base grew rapidly. It now has more than 50 million subscribers and thousands of movie titles and other content from which to choose. From the beginning, Netflix's goal was to provide the most extensive and all-inclusive selection of DVDs, a simple and fast way to select movies and fast free delivery. Success ultimately attracts competition. Other businesses want a piece of the market, a piece of a cake. Netflix, when they are growing, Netflix is racing for others' onslaughts and set streaming for the big obsession for the years in 2011. So, to counter such competitive challenges, the company focused on a select number of initiatives like improving programming, technology, and marketing, with other companies hoping to get established in the market. The competition is intense and Netflix is still doing well and being one of the most dominant player. So question number 1. Using Porter's framework, describe Netflix competitive strategy and explain your choice. So Netflix is using the factor of threats or substitutes in this competitive strategy. The substitutes in the movie industry that Netflix uses currently is the idea of streaming movies to television sets and devices with web capability, such as the iPad, computer, and media box devices. By using only a streaming media service as its main way to entice users to join, many people will be swayed away from going to the movies and spending like $9 on a movie tickets, or going to the local store and buying or renting a movie. So question number 2. What competitive advantage do you think Netflix has? Have its resources, capabilities, or core competencies contribute to its competitive advantage? And explain it. So the competitive advantage that Netflix had is the streamlined. Not only does the word mention stream as in-stream service, but it also describes the very nature of Netflix as a company. The company focuses on one main service for the majority of its user base, which is the subscription for online media streaming. By using this core competency of focusing on one major aspect of the company and allowing it to excel, it has also allowed the entire company to flourish and try new things with the extra padded income that they now generate. The resources that Netflix have attained over the few years that it had been in business and strategizing. They went from a little startup internet streaming service, streaming online movies, to a small user base, to millions upon millions of users all across the US, the United States. So that is the end of the chapter 9, and thank you for listening.